Hello, thank you so much for dropping by this video. This is about a question that I read on Quora. And the question was, how does one pull back from thoughts of wanting death? Wow, powerful question. Very powerful question. Thank you for asking. First of all, just my heart goes out to you. I've had those thoughts. Occasionally, I still do have those thoughts. Very painful. Um, So I just want to let you know there's at least one other person in this world who knows the pain of such thoughts. So the thing is as human beings, we don't want to die for no reason. And that thought just doesn't appear on its own. There's always all sorts of thoughts underneath it. And I speak from both personal experience from having almost killed myself multiple times and reflecting on what led me to that point, but also from a theoretical experience. I've studied a lot of different systems of working with your thoughts, and that thought just doesn't appear for no reason, not just study, but practice. So, if you're having the thought, I want to die, then I would be willing to guarantee you're also having, before that thought came, there were thoughts like, I'm never going to be happy again. There's no hope for me. I'm such a loser. Nothing is ever going to work out. Nothing ever works out for me. My life is just going to keep getting worse. There's probably a constellation of untrue, distorted thoughts like that that have led up to the thought of wanting to die. So that's sort of the abstract of what's going on. But what's the practical solution? Well, one practical solution would be what's called the three column technique. And this is taken from the Feeling Good Handbook written by Dr. David Burns. It's a well researched and a really um, very powerful and simple way of taking the energy out of these thoughts. The problem isn't the thoughts. The problem is we believe the thoughts. If we didn't believe these thoughts, like, I want to die, we would just laugh at them. Or if we didn't believe the thought, like, oh, nothing's ever going to work out for me, then that thought would just come and go. But the problem is that thought gets believed. So what needs to happen is it really needs to be looked at. So what I invite people to do is to make a list of, and let's see, this would be for anyone watching. Okay, there you go. So make a list on one column of your negative thoughts, and then and it's going to be a three column sheet of paper, hence it's called the three column technique. In the middle column, what you're going to do is you're going to list out the cognitive distortions, and I'll come back to that in one moment. And in the third column, you're going to make a list of actual true thoughts that are rational, not just feel good thoughts, but actually true thoughts. So, for example, in the first column, you might have a thought like, there is no hope for me. So, again, you write down all the negative thoughts, and then one at a time, we're going to take a look at them. So, there is no hope for me. That's the negative thought. And the second column, again, is the cognitive distortions. So, you can Google 10 cognitive distortions, cognitive behavioral therapy, and you'll come up with a list of ways that our mind thinks that tricks us. For example, I've already forgotten what's the negative thought where there's no hope for me. Okay, so first and foremost, that's fortune telling. That's imagining that we know the future. It's just not true. The future is unknown. But for now, so that's fortune telling. There's no hope for me. That's also an all or nothing way of thinking. There may be no hope for you to be 100% happy all the time, but to think in terms of it's going to be all bad or all good, it's a cognitive distortion. Life doesn't work that way. There's no hope for me. That's also a third distortion. Is that's emotional reasoning. So you've probably gotten to the place where you feel hopeless, and then you think, oh, well, because I feel hopeless, then there must be no hope for me. That's actually thinking backwards. Our feelings aren't always, and when we're suffering, they're very much not an accurate representation of reality. When cognitive distortions are in play, our feelings are actually very unreliable. Uh, Uh, and here's an example. Someone maybe feels hopeless about their future, and then they start to think, well, then my future is hopeless. So, um, so that's the second part, is to recognize the cognitive distortion. And then the third part is to come up with rational, true thoughts. Now, these aren't affirmations, these aren't feel good statements. These are things that are actually true, such as there's no hope that actually that replace the original distorted thought. For an example, to replace "there's no hope for me" would be something like, as I said, "I don't know the future. I haven't tried everything." Um, would be two thoughts that come to mind. Many times I've thought there's no hope for me, and actually things got better. So there you go. That just disproves the thought. So it sounds very simple, and it is kind of simple. It's not necessarily easy, and of course, this is like a 6-minute video. You're not going to learn all of it, but it's very, very powerful. And one of the most lethal times when I almost took my life, what I found was it was really only three thoughts that had driven me to that point. There were three very dark thoughts. And one of them is things are going to keep getting worse. I think the other one was there's no hope for me. And the third one was the mental health system was evil because there had been some goof ups with my medication, which had unbalanced me. Um, so those three thoughts took me to the point of suicide. That's how powerful thoughts are. So I hope this was really helpful. And if you want to learn more, a really simple way of learning cognitive therapy is a book called The Feeling Good Handbook, which literally teaches you the skills that I've just given a very quick overview of. Thanks so much. Take care. And before you take your life, take some of those thoughts and put them on paper and take a look and see if they're actually true or not.